Hello and welcome to Untitled Chapter Reviews. So this is a first look at the Battleground Northag set of rules. Now this came in the post yesterday and I had a chance to flick through it last night and get my thoughts together. So I thought I would do a video talking about my first impressions. Now for reference, I've never played any of the battle group rules, so I won't be going into any details about how this differs from the World War II set of rules because I've not really delved too deeply into the rules. But what I've done is talked about the things that, as a wargamer, what appeals to me. So yeah, the book itself, it's a softback. It's 109 pages, but then it's got some quick reference sheets in the back. Okay, now the interesting thing about quick reference sheets, I don't know if you can tell, it's actually a thicker card than the glossy paper which is in the books. So I think the idea is you could, oh yes, there's perforations, so you could take them out, cut them up and use them. I'd probably be making my own. I'm not a huge fan of taking stuff out of books, but that's a nice touch. The book itself is full colour throughout. Lots of colour photos. Now, you've got some black and white photos, and all the photos are of miniatures, which I think, just from a first impression, is the first few photos of the miniatures actually think, yeah, that's really cool, but what we are looking at is camouflage tanks, and I would say the paint jobs on the tanks are basic to Battlefield. There's nothing that stands out and makes me go woo with the photos, so the photos do become a bit samey of the miniatures. I mean, there are some really nice ones. I think that double page spread is lovely. Maybe there are a lot of photos from the 1980s. Maybe we could have used some real photos in there. But that's my only real quibble with it. I mean, it's still really nicely produced. So what's caught my eye? What have I liked looking through? So, like I say, I've not delved too much into the rules, but straight away I can see there's three types of fire: suppression fire, direct HE and direct AP. I think any modern set of rules from World War II upwards, even maybe World War I, has to include suppression and pinning, and that's got it. You've got an escalating engagement scenario, which is the only scenario in the book, but it's the way I like to think about war games. Is you've got your initial clash of forward elements, and then your reserves, your main force coming on. When we're trying to represent modern war and World War II war, where the battlefields were much bigger than those that we can recreate on our tables, I think scenarios and looking at games like that's essential and gives you a real feel for the game and for the period. Now, when this came yesterday, I also spent a bit of time on YouTube. There's a really good set of YouTube documentaries. It was Operation Lionheart, which was done by the British Army in 1984, and it was the largest peacetime exercise the British Army's ever done, which included over 100,000 British troops deploying and fighting an exercise in Germany, and that tied to a lot of the stuff and thoughts and feelings that comes out the book. So, for example, whilst you might be a battalion commander or company commander in this set of rules, you're having to call on higher echelons for your airstrike support, artillery support. Maybe it's calling in reinforcements, and all of this seems like it's represented in the book itself. The other thing that comes in here is all your units have got their basic stats, but then you've also got, I think it's 4 pages of special rules, and this covers everything from anti-aircraft fire, electronic warfare to traffic control. And that was another thing that documentary Operation Lionheart showed me, was the importance of the logistics of getting troops to the battlefield, bridge layers. So there's a lot of stuff in the book which does, in my opinion, represent what you've got to think about as a battlefield commander in this hypothetical war. And again, so for example, the Soviet used big blocky formations, so your orders are Soviet based on companies, whereas your NATO troops are much lower echelon of command, so they're based on platoon orders. like NATO armoured force preservation rules. So the NATO defence was going to be elastic. So as the Soviets came, it would bend and bow, and then the reinforcements would come to a pinpoint where they could counterattack once the Soviets had penetrated, and a bit like the Battle of the Bulge. And I feel like that's represented in it as well. The other thing I like the look of is the army list. Like it says, the main scenario is based around an escalating engagement scenario. And with that, you've got a full screen of troops, which you buy, and these might be recon elements, fixed defences, SAS or Soviet Special Forces. So they'll be on the table at the beginning, and then as the battle progresses, that's when your main force will come in, and even your main force is a vanguard for your main force, and then your main force coming in as well, on top of your request for extra reinforcements. And again, whilst the book's 110 pages, actually only 50 of those are actual rules, and the sections themselves don't look too complicated. Certainly when I've looked at modern wargaming before, there seems to be a lot of complexity in the rules. This looks like it's a good balance between a game and a representation of stuff on the tabletop. So that's my initial thoughts of Battleground Northag. I do have some 6mm armies coming in for it, so I hope to get some battles on the table. And once I've had that, I can delve into the rules and do a full rules review for you. If you've played this, or you're interested in it, or even if you've got the book, let us know what you think as well. So that's goodbye for now, and I hope you have a great hobby day. Bye-bye.